One of the greatest people in history, Miriam, passes away in this week's Torah portion. As a result, the rock that had miraculously been providing water to the Jewish people for decades in her merit in the wilderness dries up. The people approach Moshe in a mob scene demanding water. He turns to God. God tells him to take his staff, but to speak to the rock so that it will issue water. Instead, Moshe hits the rock, and God tells him that as a result, he's not going to be able to enter the promised land. The commentators have many different explanations as to the exact nature of what Moshe did wrong. One line of thought is that Moshe had gotten angry at the people for the manner in which they had approached him. And because he had gotten angry, he made a mistake. But one commentator gently suggests that Moshe bore part of the blame for his own anger. He got angry because the Jewish people came to him in a mob demanding water, instead of first coming to him and to his brother Aaron to console them while they were sitting Shiva for their sister Miriam. But Moshe knew that the rock had dried up. He knew that it had been issuing water in Miriam's merit. He could have first reassured the Jewish people, don't worry, God will provide an alternative source of water. He didn't do that. That led to the mob scene. That led to him getting angry. Now, I'm no Moshe. Far, far from it. But I want to share with you a personal story in the same vein. It's a little embarrassing, but maybe we can tease a lesson out of it. Earlier this year, we had a ridiculous snowstorm where I live, 2.5 feet of snow. My youngest 3 boys were home, school was canceled. I told them I'm going out to try the new snowblower that we bought along with a couple of neighbors, and I'll let you know if I need your help. Good luck, Dad. I went across the street. My neighbor told me how to turn on the new snowblower. I brought it to my property, and I could not get it onto my driveway. There was just too much snow. I said, no problem. I'll just call my sons, have them come out with shovels. I dial the house on my phone. Rings, no answer, voicemail. And I say, okay, they don't answer every time, but I've told them in the past, if someone calls and then calls again right away, just check to see if it's me or Mom so you can answer it. So this time, of course, they're going to answer, and it rings, voicemail. I call a 3rd time. It rings, voicemail. 4th time, voicemail. I have long been a hothead. I have spent years working on controlling my temper. But I confess, by the time I called the 5th time, I'm sure you could have seen the steam coming out of my ears through the hood that I was wearing. It rings and goes to voicemail. Reluctantly, I turn off the snowblower, take out the key, trudge across the 2.5 feet of snow in my driveway, go into my house, walk through the basement, go up the stairs. There's a door at the top of the stairs. I know that my 3 sons are in the den just on the other side of that door. So instead of opening the door, I violently explode through it like I'm a member of a SWAT team. And they look up and I say, when I call, answer the phone. To which they say, the phone never rang. I said, what are you talking about? I called 5 times. So I take my phone out, I dial the house, and there's no ring. Why? Because someone had turned the ringer off on the kitchen phone. I calm myself down, I apologize to them, I ask them to put on their snow gear, boots, grab shovels, and to come out and help me. As I'm walking back outside, I realize there's only one person in the house who ever turns the ringer off on the kitchen phone. The guy who films videos, who turns it off if he's filming during the day or in the early evening so that a phone call won't ruin a video. I must have turned it off the night before and forgotten to turn the ringer back on. I had only myself to blame, but it gets better. A few days later, I'm sitting in the den and I see there's a hole in the wall, and it's the same height as the handle on the door, which means somebody must have slammed the door open. The door has a stopper. When you open it, it can't reach the wall. The only way the door could have hit the wall would have been if somebody had violently thrown it open. Who would go in through a door like that? Oh, right, that was me. So I say, I don't believe this. All right, I'll have to pay somebody to fix the wall. I tell this story over to a rabbi with whom I'm close, with whom I study. And he thinks about it and he says, I don't think you should fix the wall. I say, why would I want a hole in the wall sitting there in my house, let alone one that's going to remind me of how I lost my temper unnecessarily? And he says, that's why you should keep it. It'll be a zecher la'anger, a reminder to you every time you see it to control yourself, not to get angry. And so the hole is still there. And hopefully I will learn my lesson. And maybe you will also from this story. We've got to control our anger.